Good afternoon and welcome to Flat Earth Debate with me, your host, Nathan Oakley. If you're new to this channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. I've put the link to join the show in the info box below this video and indeed in the side chat. The primary purpose for myself being here is not to debate Flat Earth or debate Globe Earth with anybody who joins the show, but instead to moderate the show. Ideally, you won't see much of me. I'll put up the photographs now and hopefully we'll have some guests join in the near future. This may be a fairly long or prolonged period of silence if there is nobody who joins, and for all I know, nobody may join at all. But if you're willing and able, you can click that link to join the show in either the chat box or in the information box below this video and have at it, discuss Flat Earth. There's only a couple of rules, the first being no swearing. Tends to be the case that people get a lot more aggressive if indeed they are angry enough to be swearing, so that would be my first red flag to tell me that somebody who is in the chat is getting annoyed, and my first indicator to interject and tell them to calm down. The second rule is that if you are ejected, which inevitably will happen at some point, my only request would be that you only rejoin the following show. So once you are ejected, you cannot rejoin on the same channel anyway. Obviously, in this arena, we have plenty of people with sock accounts, and I would only ask that if you have been ejected, that you wait until the following show, and you will be warmly welcomed to rejoin at that point. The chat is moderated by Google, so there are no actual moderators other than myself in the chat room, so you won't see any wrenches flying by. If there are, I will be removing them because this is my backup channel. Be sure to subscribe to Nathan Oakley 1980 YouTube channel to keep up to date with Flat Earth interviews and videos surrounding the subject of Flat Earth. So that's going to be pretty much it from me in terms of this introduction. As I say, this feed will be left to run, and the link that is in the description is to a YouTube Hangouts on Air page, which will not actually stream. So were anybody to actually come into that stream and display pornography or be abusive or try and shut the Hangout down altogether, I would simply terminate the stream, at which point the streams will all go to archive and none of them will actually be public unless, of course, I approve them in the aftermath. That way, if something disastrous does occur, I can terminate the stream and not need to immediately fumble around to find the rendered version of it to stop whatever's caused the reason for it being shut down. So yeah, I'll show you a quick sort of display of what people will actually be fed with. Unfortunately, I can't mirror my camera on this particular view, so it's a secondary camera so that it works in Hangouts as well as on OBS. Bit of a pain having to have two cameras, but there we go, that's life. So this will be the view that you actually get of the show. I can still control all the various different levels for people, which is very handy. Screen share if I need to, although I'm hoping there won't be any point in me screen sharing, as I've said all along, and in the show yesterday with Gem Panda, my intention in being here is not to actually offer too many of my opinions, although obviously that may happen at some point and it's my show, so I reserve the right to, but ultimately that's not my purpose in doing this. My purpose is to provide a reasonably, friendly platform for people to debate the subject of Flat Earth. Yeah, that being said, this trial run will now run hopefully for a couple of hours, even if it's complete silence the entire time. What I'm going to do in the meantime is check that the feed actually is streaming correctly on Nathan Oakley channel. So one last time for me, if you're new to this channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon. If you're new to me and my material, please also subscribe to Nathan Oakley 1980. Link is in the info box below. So that'll hopefully be it from me until, or as and when, if we get some guests, you may see me rear my head again and potentially chat to at least the first guest that comes in. But from then, hopefully we'll have some debates. And to all of you who do join the show in the future, may this be successful and possibly migrated onto the main Nathan Oakley 1980 channel. Have fun! Hopefully this will be a positive experience for anybody who joins in the future, and I hope that I can add moderation to the discord that takes place in some of these flat earth debate channels. So yeah, feel free to join, come one, come all. Although the thumbnail shows two people debating the subjects of flat earth and spherical earth, feel free to come with whatever opinions you have. If you believe the earth is concave, if you believe the earth is a cell, if you think the earth is a potato, you are welcome to come and express those views, and ultimately speaking, I will be on your side, not in the respect of your views and opinions, but in the respect that you get the opportunity to express those views and opinions to others without fear of interruption or ridicule. Hopefully that will be unnecessary, so as I say, you won't particularly get to see too much of my smiling face on these streams, or hopefully you won't, unless I'm having to pipe up and interject people. So as I say, I'm going to transition across to my photographs, and I'm going to shut off my mic and basically sit, and hopefully someone will join the show. I will welcome anybody who does join as and when they do so. So we're about 10 minutes in. I've shared the link with a few people and tidied up the chat. Unfortunately, the little bit of code that I'd used to put the chat from the other feed doesn't work for this feed, so I've just popped out the chat and stuck that on the view that you can see now, which is the actual Hangout view. I'm just going to say a few hellos to people who are currently in the chat. So hello to Frequencies Illuminated. Debating the Globe is so 2015. Quite right. Check out my video with Gem Panda from yesterday where we were discussing exactly that and the joy that it brought many people during 2015, including myself. So this is the reason to bring this back, hopefully in a cordial manner, so that future debates on this channel, should it be successful, will be conducted in such a manner that we do see some progress. Some of these arguments are progressed. So yes, I agree with you. The throwback is to the 2015 debates. You're not wrong. Frequencies Illuminated. Haunted House says, who is battling? Well, at the moment, nobody, clearly. This is a pilot, so unfortunately nobody knows about it, which isn't surprising. And once somebody joins, or if anybody joins, it may be that this show runs with literally just me talking about people subscribing to a channel that currently has absolutely no debates going on it. I'm sure it will in the meantime. Somebody will join eventually, I'm no doubt. A4, good to have you here. What's the topic? Flat Earth, or the Earth and its shape? I'm going to label it Flat Earth Debate because that will be primarily what it is about. Do shills exist in the Flat Earth movement, and do they affect the information, says A4. Very good question. Certainly one to be answered by somebody on a future debate, I'm in no doubt. If I do it via... Can I do it... Can I do it via chat, so screen share the chat? Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, the chat's screen shared, Adam, so yes, people can see on this broadcast what you are saying. Probably no point in reading out all of it. We'll pick certain bits. Malav Cocktail. Truther, I think it says. At Nathan Oakley. Very true. You're such a wise Englishman. Thanks for the reminder. I'll be back after I walk the dog, listening in. God bless everyone. Thank you, Malav. Much appreciated. Hey, Nathan, says Zoe. Good to see you. Then if you tuned in yesterday to the chat I had with Gem Panda Zoe, I think you were down with a headache or something, but feel free to check that out on Nathan Oakley 1980 YouTube channel, and the reason for why this is a rather dead debate chat. But being the first one, I'm not at all ashamed of that. You have to start somewhere. And it is giving me an opportunity to check how this is all working on the secondary channel, and it all seems to be working fine. All we need now is a few debaters. Let's see what Adam's been saying. Channels like Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes, Mark Sargent, You've Been Exposed, Bro Sanchez, Flat Earth Asshole, Poncho Pete, they all derail... Maybe it means detract away from having disclosure on subjects that will lead to the truth. I don't know if I agree with you there, but yeah. Said it before, I'm not necessarily here to pump my opinions. I'm here to promote other people's. So, you know, feel free to come on air and say that, Adam. Hopefully someone will come and challenge you. You are here indeed. So maybe I should just use this as an opportunity to do a rolling advert and explain once more why this is happening. So yesterday on my main channel, Nathan Oakley 1980, after seeing a brief chat with Gem Panda and a few other people in Pete Shea's chat, it came clear that having debates was something that was solely missed from many of the people who are in Flat Earth, because many of the Flat Earth debate channels have become a circle jerk where you're only allowed to have a Flat Earth opinion, and if you don't, you'll be ridiculed or ejected. So in the past, I've moderated a couple of debates, and it tends to be the case that I just dislike people slagging each other off regardless of their beliefs, and I don't know, I feel I can inject a little bit of something that's missing from Flat Earth, which is a strong, secure place for all to debate, and only be persecuted for ad hominem attacks or non sequitur conclusions, and that's hopefully what I will inject, as opposed to my opinion on flat Earth, which is plentiful. And if you want my opinions on flat Earth, feel free to check out my channel, Nathan Oakley 1980, where you will see dozens of interviews and video logs and various other things, sun tracking experiments, which all are biased towards my opinion, as you would expect. But that's not necessarily what I intend for this particular debate platform on my secondary channel, Nathan Oakley. If you're not subscribed to this secondary channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the debates that are on this channel, if indeed it is successful and continues. If indeed this pilot is a total flop, it may not be the case that I think is necessary, because clearly people aren't interested in joining. But that's the point of this. This is to find out exactly that. How interested are people? Is it literally just Adam that wants to debate from the chat? In which case, he can do that on any of the interview shows that I do on the Nathan Oakley channel. So, the purpose of this is not to replicate what Pete Shea and many others already have, which is a place where people can mute the person that's talking and ultimately just use it as a place to chat. Useful though that is, and although I do use the services of other YouTubers for exactly that purpose, that's not what I intend for this particular platform. My intention here is for Globers, potentially concavers, although there are few and far between at the moment, and Globeheads to have a platform where they can come on and discuss the matters and their objections to points that people on the opposite side of the argument have raised, and point out perhaps where there are some logical fallacies or lack of evidence, all of those things. On the other hand, it may be the case that there are fallacious debates going on, and again, my intention is not necessarily to interject with fallacious debating. That will be for the people who are debating each other to point out to each other, and that's it, ultimately rather entertaining, and hopefully will move the conversation of flat Earth forward. We hope so. See if anyone else has joined the chat. Charlotte, good to see you. Twit, hello there. This unfortunately will be a show with lots of dead air. You will get me talking every so often, but there's only so many times I can tell people to subscribe to this channel for future debates, should there be any. So yeah, I'll say that a few more times, but ultimately speaking, I will run out of things to chat about with myself. Maybe I could plug the next show, which is coming up on Nathan Oakley 1980, which will hopefully be in the not too distant future. Look, nice jumper, Nath. Thank you very much. It's very old. As is most of my clothes, I am definitely not fashion conscious. Not at all. So yeah, my next interview will be with Helena Phoenix. I haven't actually set a date with her as yet, although we're in reasonably good communication with each other. So I will set a date for that, and it will not be on this channel. It will be on the main Nathan Oakley 1980 channel. So tune in to that interview, which will most definitely be biased towards flat Earth. I love old jumpers too. I may as well put the chat back up just for a few seconds before I go back to photographs. So you can see the chat for a little bit. And that's your lot. So I'm going to go on mute for a bit. If anybody does happen to join the show, just give me a shout. I'm going to be milling around. I can hear you, so I've got the speakers turned on so I can hear you wherever I may be. But in the meantime, I'm going to leave you amongst your own company in the chat room. Hopefully, if you can share the link and explain, feel free to share the join link also. So in the chat and the info box is a join link to join the show. Chances are most people tend to want to join when there already is a half-decent conversation taking place, and that's pretty difficult to entice people in, but at some point hopefully I'll have them all rolling up. So yeah, roll up to join the Ball Earth Circus here on Nathan Oakley channel. Once somebody joins, I will inevitably have to start off the conversation and involve myself in this debate to a certain extent until we get a further participant. But on the whole, as I've said a few times now, my purpose in being here isn't necessarily to punt my views or opinions or beliefs, but to be on the side of anybody who wants to join. Hello, Yvette. This is a homage to yourself and your good work back in 2015. So hopefully at some stage, if this continues, you will also join the show and air your views, as I know you have many. Hopefully Yvette of Free-chan, the former Free-chan, which may also get punted out again. Who knows? We may see a bit of Free-chan in the future. You never know your luck. Illuminati sign. I don't know what you're talking about, Yvette. Sorry. You're welcome. You're welcome, Yvette. People who may be paid by NASA and other space agencies or companies that would lose profit or even be maybe closed down this subject is letting the fraud continue. Well, if there's fraud afoot and people are perpetrating it, Adam, again I'm going to transition to the chat. If there is fraud and people are being deceived, and the people who you're saying may come onto this channel to perpetrate that fraud, then that's the whole point of having this, so that people can challenge them, rather than people in a circle jerk just patting each other on the back and saying attaboy every time they come up with a new load of nonsense. Well, the same applies to both sides of the coin. NASA, if they have somebody that was literally a paid shill in this channel, I would welcome them with open arms, because they would be here in the moment, live, telling people the lies. Now that's my biased view, I can't help but put that across when there's no one else to talk. But that being said, if you were then on and you were there to challenge them, I wouldn't stop you. You know, you'd be there to challenge them. Obviously, I'd kick you out if you had ad hominem attacks and you were calling them idiots or whatever, you know, just ad hom. That wouldn't be something that I would welcome. But certainly if they were to say, again, this is my biased opinion, that rockets are actually breaching the Van Allen radiation belt and all the other bullshit that they give us and going out into what they call space, I would challenge them on that if I was a participant. You know, as a moderator, I probably won't. I'll watch and see it unfold unless there's nobody else there. Let's have a look. Shut this channel down, Nathan Oakley. You know nothing of anything. That's really kind of you to say, Shrosay Walker. So are you saying that NASA is not propagating fraud? Of course NASA are propagating fraud. That's absolutely the case in my humble opinion. And if they were to come onto this debate and perpetrate that fraud, I would hope somebody from Flat Earth would be so outraged that they would want to address that fraud. And that's the purpose, to hear the nonsense, to see it spewed. But, you know, the flip side of this, Adam, knowing full well that you're a flat earther who has some conspiratard views, you would also have that challenge. You know, some of the ideas you have about Shillery would undoubtedly get challenged by some of the Ball Earth proponents, who are as swift to debunk that as they are to debunk some of the flat Earth claims that are made when it comes to maps and things like that. So that is also my purpose. Without there being a flat Earth, globe Earth debate that is cordial, you're left in a position where flat Earthers are left to their own devices to perpetrate nonsense, and globers are excluded, where they may be actually quite useful to debunk some of the complete nonsense that flat earthers spew. So that's the flip side of what you're saying. You're saying, well, globe earthers spew nonsense about NASA, and I would wholeheartedly agree. But that has to be heard and then challenged. That's how these things work. And without them actually expressing that view in the first place, the only way you get that opinion is with the flat earthers playing devil's advocate. Well, NASA say this, and it isn't necessarily the case. You can't have a perfect devil's advocate. They won't always put the view correctly across. So when a flat earther says NASA are saying this, that and the other, they may not actually be saying that. You know, it may be a straw man argument put together by a flat earther to debunk something that isn't necessarily worthy of debunking. And that also needs to be challenged. Poor flat earth arguments or poor heliocentric debunkings. And those will be, and hopefully will get to be challenged by both globe earthers and flat earthers. So, you know, Jem Panda was saying yesterday in the discussion we had about doing these shows, that ultimately speaking, when he was in a completely different arena, it was an atheist versus Christian arena, there was plenty of atheists who wouldn't stand for nonsense from other atheists. Yes, they would team up, but it's not akin to what we have in Flat Earth, where people will literally say, you must believe my opinion, I am a flat earther also. Therefore, Ken Burns must be real because I believe the earth is flat. And frankly, I don't agree, and would hope that other people would challenge this nonsense. And if it's not flat earthers challenging it, and to date that's the case, oh, you also think the earth is flat, well then I must agree with your opinion. It's normally the globers that do a better job of debunking some of the flat earth crap that comes out. So I want to see both sides. You know, I want to see the same as happened recently with MGTV and Math Powerland and ODD Reality, they all mirrored, or in the case of MGTV, created a nonsense bullshit narrative about agents in the field of flat Earth. Complete horseshit. And the people who debunked this initially and publicly were globers, not flat earthers. So it's not like we're self-policing the nonsense within this arena. Far, far, far from it. I'll go back to the chat. I can't actually read it at the distance that it's on my screen that I'm sharing the chat from. Let's bring it up on my iPad so I can actually read some of what's going on. See who's in here and say hello. Invite A4 on, says Twitwit. Yes, I already have done. He wants to spew from the chat, which is perfectly fine. You're welcome to do so. The chat will also be up for all those people that only desire to put their opinions out in the chat. My intention will be to have a slightly more slick looking than this, which is currently what we've got. But that will take, a little bit of figuring out. I set up my OBS on 1980 with the chat transposed, and maybe I'll have to set it up differently. Maybe it'll just stay as is. It is fairly clear, I won't lie. The chat is definitely legible at that size, albeit not for me. Cigar Face says this is boring. I agree. Yes, unfortunately, without any guests, without anybody knowing that this show is even taking place or happening, yes, it's going to be boring. It's just going to be me probably repeating myself over and over again. My intention is to run this for a couple of hours, so, it'll probably end at around 4 PM UK time today. Lewis Hackett says, Ken Burns, ? That deserves a bit of an explanation. So, during, I don't know whose chat, a fellow flat earther was pointing out that he had become sunburnt, and there was heavy chemtrailing, and the ambient temperature of the air was fairly low on that day. Therefore, he concluded that the burns that he suffered were as a direct result of the chemtrails in the air. I challenged him to provide more evidence for this particular assertion, and there was no evidence to be provided, only speculation and opinion. And the general feeling from that particular videographer was that I should agree because I'm a flat earther, and therefore we are in agreement automatically because we both believe the Earth is flat, and I simply don't agree with that. So Ken Burns is a bone of contention between me and another flat earther who has taken upon it himself to despise me as a result of not actually agreeing with him. But I am a fairly reasonable and logical person. That is to say that if you provide reasonable and logical evidence that supports your claim, I will entertain it at the very least. If there is no supporting evidence to any claim, then there is no reason to support it at all, in my view. So there we go. Like I have said, they have shown up in a group, and not one of them was around before the leaders popped in. They have unknown mods and fake donate to themselves, which is shilling. Well, okay, there's a fair few assertions there, Adam. So, again, what proof do you have that they are donating to themselves in Super Chat? I don't actually have a Super Chat for this channel. I only found out today. It would certainly have one if it was available to me, but until I get 1,000 subscribers, there is no Super Chat on Nathan Oakley. So subscribe today so I can fleece you of money in the Super Chat, according to Adam. But according to Adam, his point is that people are donating to themselves, and maybe that's true. Maybe people have donated to their own channel. I certainly haven't. But if others have, what's your proof? What's your evidence to suggest that that's the case? Feel free to present it in the chat. The chat is being displayed. People can read what you are saying. So if you feel that people are donating themselves, shilling, as you put it, then what's your proof? The fact that people turned up at the same time means nothing. You are drawing a non sequitur conclusion. Literally meaningless. If 3 people all start a YouTube channel at the same time on the same day, it in no way indicates that they are in any way connected. That's a non sequitur conclusion. Again, if you have proof that they are connected, please present it in the chat. I don't know who Hammy is, but apparently Hammy's voice is missed by Rebel. Link is indeed in the description. Feel free to join. I've repeated myself enough. I think I will pop myself on mute for a little while and leave this to run with dead air, unfortunately. I may well go back afterwards and edit out some of the dead air if indeed the show does eventually get some people on who feel the need to debate each other. We shall see.
Morning.
I've been joined by Lewis Hackett. How you doing?
I'm decent.
Excellent.
I rolled right out of bed and over in front of the camera.
Is that so? It doesn't look
Yep.
it. You don't look a scruffy mess.
I am right now, yeah.
Fair enough. You were very, very rude to Pete Shea yesterday.
No, I was just speaking my mind.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, in reality, I
impolite to
agree
do
with
it.
you. I'm not going to lie.
And one of the things you said was you should do it behind their back, but that's technically slander. Not that I'm worried about that here on YouTube, because it's not worth anyone's time to even go through that hassle. But if you do it to their face, they can't slander you. They have to then tell you to stop so that it's harassment.
I agree. It was said in irony. It's an old Red Dwarf joke. So the character who's a dead hologram says to the character who's alive, at least have the common decency to do it behind his back. It's just a joke. Yeah, I realise that it's very rude to actually do it behind their back, but no.
Well, I guess we'll wait for someone of an opposing view to John.
Hopefully so. Well, I tell you what you could do that would probably entice a few flat earthers to join is spout your rhetoric, and then undoubtedly someone will get infuriated and want to challenge you on it.
All right, let me think of something. So, the Earth's it's actually a ball, just like we were taught in school, and it's not flat. So we've known it for a long time, and it's not a surprise, and that's about where I would start. As far as the flat Earth, from what I've seen, I guess I'll just keep going until someone comes in to stop me. As far as the flat Earth goes, it makes logical sense as long as you don't try and do circumnavigation and you don't look at the sky. But as soon as you do those things start to not line up, and you notice inconsistencies, and mainly the motion of celestial bodies is a complete confusion if you think you live on a flat disk. Mainly the sun obscuring bottom to top from sunset and appearing top to bottom in sunrise. If the Earth was flat and the sun was going above it in some pattern, why wouldn't it illuminate the entire thing? Why would it not illuminate the entire thing? And the moon, sort of the same story, but it's not as bright. I mean, there's explanations for all that on the ball. And the simple explanation is, well, when you're on one side of the ball and the sun's on the other, you can't see it. And it's that simple. Whereas with the flat earthers, they're like, well, there's celestial perspective and it's already really far away from you upwards. So when it goes even further away from you laterally, you can't see it. That's an explanation I've heard before. And as you can tell from the inflection in in my voice that I used, I think it's a terrible argument. I don't know.
You're doing well. You're doing well. so far so good.
Thank you, Nathan.
Well, as no one's coming in to challenge you, how did you find yourself chatting about flat Earth and warming your cockles around the flat Earth campfire, so to speak?
Yeah, I guess cockles. Why is that such a popular term around here?
Didn't know it was. I thought I was being quite unique.
Oh, no, people are calling people cucks everywhere. It's like a.
Oh, not cook.
It's actually
Cockles. Cockles.
cuckolds.
Cockles, yeah.
Is that's different from a cuckold?
Definitely.
Okay, I'm sorry. I guess I'll try and keep going here. Oh, I just find so much of it vapid, but I'm nonetheless compelled to come here and engage with people. Um, Gravity. All right, let's talk about gravity for a second. The main thing people bring up is density and buoyancy, and those two things are what cause things to stratify over the surface of the earth in the manner that they do. Just like if you put liquids of different density in a cup, they'll stratify into layers, right? With oil and water and whatever else you can mix up. Um, the explanation of density and buoyancy isn't enough there, because if you don't mix them, or if you mix them rather, they're not stratified. So there's a force required to move everything into the stratified layers, and that's what the force of gravity does. All right, it pulls the dense things down underneath the less dense things, and their own natural relation to each other is what causes stratification. But the force of gravity is necessary for that to occur. Um, and you can liken it with the magnetic forces. So if you have a magnet, you can say that when you push it against another magnet and get it to push the other magnet away, you can say that other magnet's moving because it's less dense than the air it's moving through, not because the force of the magnet's pushing it. All right, you could do that, but that would be absurd, because everybody understands magnets to some degree, because they're small and they can be put in their hands. But the Earth's not small. It's really big. It's the biggest thing we have in our experience and always has been. And the simple claim of gravity is that it's the attractive force between objects of mass. And the Earth is extremely massive. We have mass. Everything in our experience has mass, and so it moves towards the Earth. And that's all there is to it. That's the basic, simple theory of gravity. And a lot of people get hung up on, oh, it's a theory. It's a theory. That means it's not true. It means it's just a guess, so I can make up whatever I want and call it a theory too. And no, you can't, okay? Theories are comprised of facts and observations to try and predict the future. Facts describe the present. Theories describe the future. If your theory describes the future better than somebody else's theory, that's what makes your theory better. So scientific theories do a bang up job of describing the future, and the flat earth theories do not. And that's the whole point. It's all about what you can predict. So I guess
may I have a challenger. Let's see. What's his name? Shane Walker, I think is the one. Did he say he wanted to get in here? No. Shed Rager 69. Let me on. I need to rage. I'm shed trained.
Shed Rager, there's a link in the chat description. That's how I got in here. I just clicked on it. He's amazing, honestly, that he has that there. I think it's a matter of time before it bites him. But we'll see.
A4 seems to be agreeing. He says, so it isn't only density and buoyancy. Well, according to what Lewis said, yeah. So far, totally unchallenged. So it must be true.
Well, I mean, it is my opinion, and of course I think it's true.
Been said on a video now. That makes it fact.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's been said, yeah, on a video. I exist only on a screen. God, there's so many juicy memes that come out of these experiences.
Maybe to get a few of your points across, if you reminisce to debates you've had in the past where people have had bones of contention that you've had to challenge, can you think of any good examples of those?
No good examples because I'll say what I say, and then a lot of the time people just say, "Well, that's just an assertion that you're making." Dell, for example, that's what he said to me. He was having a issue with the horizon and why it's always flat, and I described to him why he should expect it to be flat, especially if he's on ground level. And and that's if you and the thought experiment I gave to him for that is imagine you're standing on a really big circle, the outside of a really big circle. So when you look forward, it just looks like a line straight forward extending towards infinity. And if you were to go up above the circle, you would be able to see further around the circle, and you could color the circle so that you could see the difference in distance as you went up. And then if you just extend that circle out into a sphere, that's where your horizon line comes from. And if you go up, you can see more in distance as you go up. Now, if the Earth was flat, why wouldn't you just be able to see all of it from the highest point? And he just said, well, that's just an assertion you're making. And that's all the more that conversation went. Like it just stopped right there. He's just like, that's an assertion you're making. And it's like, that's everything that you make, Dell. Everything you do is just an assertion. So, no, there really aren't good, in my opinion, good responses to these things because the things I'm saying are true and they don't end up having a response to it. So they just defame me, slander me, discredit me, or whoever's speaking. And then they combine all that with their memes that they already have. And they just bring the echo chamber to you.
Unfortunately, it seems we've only got keyboard warriors. Nobody wants to come and challenge you, so clearly they're all scared of you. But we've got A4 who's insisting that I read his challenge, so this is not my remarks. All molecules have an electrical current of some sort. The sun and moon cause centrifugal and centripetal force via magnetism and electrical properties.
Oh, is there more?
No, that's your lot. I'll see if there's
Oh
anything
my
else that's
God.
challenged what you've said.
A4. What do you do for a living? Do you understand any of the forces you just talked about? That was the biggest word salad I have heard in a long time. Come on here, A4. Get your fucking ass in here.
No need.
Sorry. Come and talk to me politely and have a cordial conversation.
You got it. That's much better.
I'm not trying to mock you, Nathan.
That's all I'm after. You know, if A4 comes on and starts saying, I don't know, let's use your words. What do you do for a living? I'd probably tell him, come on, have a word.
Well, I'm wearing my work shirt right now.
Oh, right. Okay. I can't read it from this distance. What's that say? What do you do for a living?
It says Minsky's. I deliver food.
All right. Same here. That's what I do.
Nice, nice.
So does Validation Boy. Lots of waiters and
Yeah,
with crap
yeah,
jobs.
they're a lot.
What do I do for a living? Yeah, I'm
All right,
a
let me.
delivery assistant.
I'll open the pop-up chat here, and I guess I'll respond to things because
Dreadful. They should be in here challenging bloody keyboard warriors. Everyone wants to challenge from the chat.
I was going to join before Lewis joined, so I'm not going to join now. Well, it's comforting to know that I'm such an intimidating presence that you can't handle me. So you aren't going to try and debate what I said. A4, come in here and debate what you've said. All right? What you've said is entirely vapid. There's nothing true about it. You asserted that every single molecule and atom has an electrical potential, which is true. Okay, it's true. But centrifugal and centrifugal forces are not caused by electromagnetism. Oh my gosh, man. That's why I asked what you do for a living, because if you do something for a living that involves any of those things, you would understand that it's not possible and that what you said was a word salad. All right. You just combined a bunch of words there. That's what I'm left thinking. Turd salad. That's not a terrible way. Sorry. This is Nathan's show. Let me scroll up a minute. I don't know. Oh, you weren't even going to join. Well, that's fine too, I guess. I guess you didn't. I mean, you don't have to join, of course. But I mean, you can. Like, imagine that. Imagine that. Just joining. Do you have a microphone? You don't have to show your face. Thank you, Charlotte. Well, centrifugal and centripetal forces are caused by the rotation of objects, which the sun and moon do. Okay, the centrifugal forces and centrifugal forces are local to the objects that are spinning. Okay, if I spin over here, it doesn't cause forces to appear over here. Okay, you understand that? So when the sun and moon spin over there, it doesn't cause forces to happen here on the earth. What the fuck, Abe? Sorry, God. Shoshay Walker. No, Nathan has already said that he's trying to provide a platform so that truth speakers can do that because he doesn't feel that that platform exists. Well, I mean, A4, you haven't said anything. All right. You haven't. I have been on plenty of shows before with my camera on, even Nathan's. Not interested in joining these shows. Well, dude, the only reason you went on those other shows is because there wasn't an intellectual powerhouse like me sitting in a chair in front of a bunch of books to tell you that you're fucking wrong. All right. And that's an embarrassing thing for you, to have a little kid like me come back at you with more words, better organized words. That's an intimidating thing for you. And a lot of the reason that all of us are here is for sexual prowess, and that's just the truth of the matter. So behind all of this debate, there's like a mating ritual going on.
That is something I'm interested in hearing. So you think it's, I would call it a pissing competition, but you've just said something that's much more exciting. How did you phrase it? Something about sexual prowess?
Yes, this is a mating strategy. A lot of people like to say, Lewis, spec for yourself. And it's like, well, that's a mating strategy right there, responding to me in that manner. That's exactly what that is. If it wasn't, you wouldn't even bother to be here and respond. You'd be out somewhere else engaging in a different kind of mating strategy. End of story.
Well, that doesn't rile up the chat to join. I don't know what will. I don't know, this is good practice for me because, I want to challenge you on everything you say. But by the same token,
well,
I don't.
If no one, and I will be going to work shortly. So, if no one comes in, then
it remains completely unaddressed, which is fine by me. This will presumably remain up and people can get to see your opinions, which is what it's for.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, for definite. That's the whole point. So hopefully there'll be lots of keyboard warriors in the chat going, Well, how can he say this? This is the. It's like, well, you should have joined. You should have addressed him.
Lewis,
Addressed
so
you.
you agree that the sun and moon rotate? Yes, in relation to other objects, everything rotates, A4. You people bring up the most unrelated snippets, like little tiny facts that don't matter at all. They're not even significant in the so-called theories that you don't agree with. The straw men that you set up, they're not even big deals in those theories. All right. I don't understand why you would even ask me that, A4. Please, please describe to me why you have asked me that question now that I have said to you, yes, the sun and moon rotate in relation to other objects. And you dismiss the rotations relating to the forces such as centrifugal and centripetal. No, they're there on the sun and on the moon. They're not there on the earth. Okay, those forces are local to the objects that are spinning. Pickle Rick. When you do A4, can you use a more accurate Australian accent, please? um, I'll try. I'll try, mate. And you just dismiss the rotations. I can't. Australian.
As you mentioned, Pickle Rick. What are your feelings on Rick and Morty? The reason I ask is the majority of what they do is based in literal modern science, and some of it's quite accurate.
Mhm.
What do you think of it?
I think it's pretty cool, and a lot of what I mean. I'm not sure what you mean by modern science, but a lot of it's based in a lot of the bleeding edge of science, which is it's called the bleeding edge because it's subject to change and it's where the new things are happening. And the older sciences, um, they're a bit more set in stone because they've been around so much longer and we've made they're just I mean maybe there will be more advancements in them, but it just seems like they're older, and as time goes on the bleeding edge just becomes part of the blade, and you continue cutting on. It becomes part of that force pushing through to discover what's next. So yeah, in Rick and Morty, there's yeah, I love the show. I love the show. It's so good. It's very existential, very cathartic. There are a lot of people who have been through a lot of abuse and that sort of thing, and it's very good for that exact type of uh, sentiment. Um, one episode, Rick gives Summer and Morty this I don't know what it is, something on their wrist or something like that, but it allows them to separate their timelines or something. And so they end up splitting the time. And if they can't get all the times back together, it'll all fall apart. And I thought that episode was really fun. That was really good. The show's been taking a turn, which is interesting. I think the writer's pouring a lot of his emotions into the show, which is good. That makes for a good show for a lot of the time. And he went through a divorce recently, and that's what all the new season's kind of about. So it's interesting. I feel like Jerry is what the writer sees himself as, the dad, Jerry.
Right. The end. If anyone watches it intently, at the end, right at the end, there's like a little single still that he does for his production
Yeah.
company, and that still used to be like a fairly warm, cozy looking, like a lounge, what we'd call front room scene with, you know, a chair and a table, various other things. And then since his divorce, it's now become this like hovel, same room, it's a cartoon, but it's got all beer bottles and booze, and you know, he's just basically showing his state of mind on this one frame at the end.
I've never paid attention to that one frame. I've always watched until it plays, but I've never paid attention to it when it goes by.
I think it's like the screenshot for his production company or something like that. But it's just in the middle, there's just one frame that is just like one cartoon drawing of his room that presumably he's in at the time he's writing. But it's just like, say, whiskey bottles all over, cartoon whiskey bottles all over the place. Funny.
All right.
Shouldn't be
A4.
laughing.
A4. If you don't want your responses ignored and you want to be acknowledged, click the link, okay? There's a conversation occurring in here. And if you have an issue with that, you know, you can voice your opinion in the chat like you're doing, but don't expect me to respond just because I have every time. You're one of the few people spewing retarded, things that I think are not correct in the chat. So I'm responding to them as I see them. Sometimes I'm not going to see them because I'm not paying attention to you specifically. I notice first your terrible words and then who said them. So your magical force gravity is not local because you say so. No, you're conflating centrifugal forces and centripetal forces with gravity, okay? Yet forces such as centrifugal and centripetal forces are local because it doesn't suit your narrative. No, it has to do with how the forces work. I don't even feel like I need to respond to you, okay? I get the impression that you didn't pass 5th grade. I cannot believe. How old are you, A4? Just do that for me. Are you over 30 years old, A4? You don't have to tell me how old exactly. Just like give me like older than this and younger than this, you know, or something. And if that age is over 12, I'm going to be real disappointed in you.
No need. Anyway, 33-degree Freemason says, so many people that are flat earthers, fully capable of defending flat earth, crying about no flat earthers jumping in to defend flat earth. Laughing my ass off. Yeah, I kind of agree.
It's kind of funny, yeah.
Just interests me that there's plenty of people who will join the chats when it's a circle jerk. You know, people will jump in and discuss the same old subjects over and over again, agreeing with each other. But you get somebody on that's got an opinion that's completely contrary and is happy to state it with force, unchallenged. Nobody's here to challenge you. Amazes me.
Well, I don't know. Like IPS, for example, I'd call him from time to time and talk to him just over the phone because his personality interests me. I find that he speaks with an equivalent amount of force to me, perhaps. And sorry. And one day, like 2 days ago. Sorry, I had to mute people. Yeah, the other day he called me and finally, he said, would you please mind not calling my phone? And I said, well, since you ask. And so, you know, now I can't call his phone anymore. And it's because every single time we talk, I destroy what he's saying because it's attackable. All right. If he didn't want, you have two options. All right. If you want to believe the flat earth, from my point of view, if you want to believe anything that's false and you really go on a train for truth, at some point, if you're going to go for a false belief, you have to make a choice of, does the truth matter? So that's going to probably be a moral choice. And then you have to decide, do you care about lying to people? about that. So if you decide that the truth doesn't matter as much as what you're able to accomplish because of this lie, then you have to accept that it's okay to lie to other people as well about the truth, regardless of what they think about the first question of and making that decision on their own. So if you're going to follow this, so like every single one of the flat earthers, in my opinion, having been confronted by somebody with all of, say, my arguments, is put through both of those choices immediately. And that's not an easy thing. And I think that's why IPS stopped contacting me, because I, every single time, put him through those choices.
I'm going to read some of the detractors from the keyboard warriors who are too scared to debate you. So we've got, I'll go through them one by one so you have a chance to actually address them. So we've got Flat Earth Echo says, airplanes debunk the globe. 4 exclamation marks.
Okay. No, they don't. Next.
Oh, is that it? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, just the next. I don't.
Okay,
if you want me to go into it, but because
no,
there isn't really very much to go into, in my opinion. There.
Not at all. That's good enough for me. Attitude indicator on an aircraft debunk the globe. Same person. Flat Earth Echo.
Okay. You understand that the force of gravity follows the curve of the Earth, right? So as the airplane flies over the curve of the Earth, the force of gravity goes with it. So if you take a level on the airplane, like the genius intellectual powerhouse that D Marble is, if you take a level on an airplane, it should stay level.
The Wright brothers debunked it, apparently. Wright brothers debunked gravity. He's even given me the right response at the right moment. Check it out, or she.
The Wright brothers debunked gravity? No. The Wright brothers discovered how to create an object that was aerodynamic, had airfoils, and could create more lift than the force of gravity pulled down on it. Okay? That's what happened. They didn't debunk gravity. They found a way to overcome gravity. And if they didn't include gravity in their design, their airplane wouldn't work. All right? Why don't you go design an airplane?
There's an assertion for you. Without gravity, aircraft wouldn't work at all, says Lewis Hackett. Right, I'm going to take this opportunity to plug the channel. So, if you are new to this channel, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button and the bell notification icon if you want to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate.
I occasionally stream my chair. People can come by and watch that if they like. That's my plug.
No cursing at grandmas, says Cigar Face or David Quintana. No, you're free to swear, but it tends to be the case that people who are swearing are emotionally charged. So I am not against people swearing. There are certain people who just swear as part of their patter. That is fine. But when people are clearly irate, they tend to swear more. So when I say no swearing as a blanket rule, it's to avoid exactly that. It's to avoid people becoming emotionally charged. And rather than saying to somebody words that will make them worse, like you're triggered or whatever, you can just say no swearing, please. And as it's a blanket rule, people will tend to, with time, get the message that what I'm actually saying is try to calm down. Eventually, if you keep getting angry, you'll have to be booted. That's basically what I'll be saying when I say no swearing. But, you know, if somebody's chatting away passionately and starts to swear, I'm not going to stop them. I'm not going to interrupt and say no swearing. That would be pathetic. That's not the purpose of that particular rule, David Quintana. I'm not a grandma. I'm not, here to keep YouTube clean. That's not the purpose. Far from it.
Captain A4, if says, you want to be a...
Sorry, just one more thing. I'll just say, Captain Bullshit says, oh, fuck off, Nathan. So there you go. I've read out your message. I have not got an aversion to swearing.
I don't need to say anything now that someone said that. That's basically what I was going to say to A4. Calling me scared because I don't want to respond to his vapid assertions. Centrifugal and centrifugal forces caused by the motion. Oh my, dude. All right. A4, I want you to imagine that you are on a merry-go-round and the bearings on the merry-go-round are perfect so that they don't make any noise, so that when you shut your eyes and the merry-go-round stops speeding up because the people stop pushing it when they're running around, so that you cannot feel it accelerating anymore. All right. So you've got your eyes shut. You can't hear anything. And let's also say that it's enclosed, so you can't feel the air moving. All right. So you're in an enclosed system that's rotating and not accelerating. Okay. You cannot, sitting from the center of the merry-go-round, tell when you stop. All right. And that's because you feel acceleration. So the Earth spinning, the constant rate that it does, I don't know why you would expect to feel that. All right. A merry-go-round makes far more rotations than the Earth does per day, which means it's spinning faster, even though the actual tangent velocity of its edge is less. The rotations it has are more, and that's important. Okay. You're not gonna feel the Earth spinning one time a day. If you want a merry-go-round that spun one time a day, you wouldn't feel that either. No, I don't debunk myself, A4. I'm saying that all the shit you're saying, like what is the point of bringing up centrifugal and centripetal forces? It seems like you're trying to use the Socratic method here, but I think you're terrible at it. You should be asking different leading questions, right? Like when I give you my answer, I'm expecting you to give me another leading question, right? But you don't, okay? I need you to. If you're going to be taken even a little bit seriously, and the Socratic method is like the weakest form of trying to convince somebody. I want you to know that. It's like the weakest form. It means you haven't actually found a way to organize your thoughts. It means you have to get them to do something so that you can concoct a statement for that individual person. That's what the Socratic method does. That's its power. It's when a weak speaker doesn't understand the audience. That's what the Socratic method's for.
So 33 Degree Mason, just to address your point. So he says, at Nathan Oakley, you're not going to challenge Lewis? Question mark. Do you believe the earth is flat? Question mark. Or did you just do this to stir the pot and you're trolling and instigating? Right. Yes, I would love to challenge Lewis on... How do you say your name? Is it Luis? Lewis? How do you say it?
Lewis.
Just Lewis. Okay. I would love to challenge Lewis, and I emphatically disagree with most of what he is saying. That's not the purpose of me being here. So the purpose of me being here is to welcome people like Lewis to be able to express their views without fear of ridicule, without fear of ad hominem attacks. So by him being here unchallenged, it is a testament not to my ability to debate with Lewis, but the people who are watching's ability to debate with Lewis. It is an open platform, and my job is to moderate it. So I'm not going to sit here and debate all day with Lewis, because that would just be Nathan Oakley's debate channel for Nathan Oakley to debate, and that's not what I'm looking to provide. In my humble opinion, there is too many circle jerks on Flat Earth. There are too many chats where it is just the one side of the argument being debated. At best, you have devil's advocate put forward by some of the people who believe the contrary argument to what they're putting forward as a devil's advocate. And that is poor, very poor. And the reason, I am very, very grateful for Lewis to come on and be unchallenged, because it demonstrates the point. Who is willing to come and challenge him? I should have done this at the beginning of the show. So, I'm not going to debate with anybody who comes on. The only thing I possibly would check is, total logical fallacies, ad hominem attacks, things of that sort of nature. I might interject. But in terms of his views on the shape of the Earth, his opinions on the shape of the Earth, the facts and evidence that he presents, I'm not going to challenge any of it. That's not why I'm here. If you want to challenge it, the link is in the information box and in the chat. That's what it's there for. So that when others watch, it's not going to be akin to, sorry to name drop, it's not going to be akin to Dread's channel, where Dread puts his opinion across, and if you disagree and he can't win the debate, he will eject you. Well, that's not what's going to happen here. You will be free to debate points that perhaps have already been debunked. You know, even if they've been debunked by me, I don't want to interject. I want to have a platform where people who are new and are perhaps a bit green and a bit full of themselves when it comes to flat Earth to come on and go, there's no detectable curvature, man, and then have their ass ripped a new one by people like Lewis. So if you are that person who is so arrogant as to say, without any evidence, without any reason, without any logic, that the Earth is flat, then you are free to come and challenge what Lewis has said. Me? I've done it. I've been involved in plenty of debates. If you want to see me debating people like Jem Panda, go and have a look on Nathan Oakley 1980 channel. There's plenty of it. There's plenty of opportunity to see me debating. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to moderate. That's it. If people come on their own and their voice is heard and unchallenged, so be it. Feel free to challenge it.
I'd just like to say real quick, if you're a woman, you can call me anything you like.
The same goes to curved water. Nathan Oakley, how about presenting your specific points from your sun tracking that you believe debunked the globe? No, that's not my purpose in being here. If in the future you, curved water specifically, would like to set up a debate with me on Nathan Oakley 1980 channel on that specific topic, then maybe that would happen in future. It would be more of an interview as opposed to a debate. But if you wanted to come on and challenge me about the sun tracking, specifically me, I would decline, because it would therefore become a conflict of interest. I'm then completely biased as the host, and that's not fair on the audience. So again, as much as I want to, and there's a wry smile coming across my face, that's not what I'm here for. That's not what this particular show is about. That's not what it's for. If I did do that, immediately I'm contradicting what I've said. I'm contradicting the point and purpose of it being like this. So that if you came on and debated the virtues of, or the debunkings for the sun tracking with whoever else was on the panel, I'd sit intently and listen. Yeah, I might be compelled to interject, and I'm sure everyone would check me on it. You know, it would be pointed out pretty quickly. But yeah, that's the same answer as to 33 Degree Mason. You know, that's not my purpose of being here. You know, Steve Anthony says I'm a Masonic agent. So, you know, again, you feel free to punt these opinions. You know, I may not even challenge the garbage that comes out about me when it's on this channel. We'll see. We'll play it by ear. I reserve the right to if I feel the need.
Well, you know, this will be really cool if somebody had came on, excuse me. I've got work. I need to go take care of hygiene. Maybe somebody else will come on and balance the scales.
Hopefully so. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you very much indeed for joining me.
Thank you.
I'll shout out some of the chat for people who haven't had a shout out already. I'll just read everybody. Why not? So A4, good to have you here. Wister Walken, good to have you here. Gem Panda, good chat yesterday. Thanks very much. Really enjoyed it. This wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for yourself. Hopefully you'll join and be that globehead that Lewis was previously. Cigar Face, good to have you here. Nice to see you, David Quintana. Thanks for joining the show. I'd encourage you to donate to the super chat if I had one, but I don't. Remy Bartinger, don't know how to pronounce that. Good to have you here, regardless of your slanderous comments. Bet, already said hello to you. Shed Rager 69. Disappointing. Should have joined. These are so difficult to pronounce. Shane Walker. You should be speaking for every truth seeker here, he says. I've got a main channel with considerably more subscribers where I speak my truth regularly. Feel free to check out Nathan Oakley 1980 channel if you want to hear my views and opinions on this subject, of which there are many. Nearly 800 videos, I think, most of which are about Flat Earth specifically. Charlotte, thanks for being here. Wit, good to see you here. Beyond the Imaginary Curve. I think he was talking to Lewis when he says, intellectual powerhouse, lol. What a deluded little boy. No need. Won't read that out from you, Remy. Lots of browbeating people into join to get them to join in the chat, I see. No takers as yet. For the pilot show, I'm just pleased I had a single guest. I'm elated that Lewis joined. Free Truth, Paula, pleased to have you here. Good to see you. .33 Freemason, you had a few shouts. Captain Bullshit. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Flat Earth Echo again, had a few shout outs. Got your comments read. Keyboard warrior that you are. Thanks for being here. So it's probably going to run for about another half an hour before I need to do the same as Lewis and start getting ready for work. Charlotte, good to see you. Leather Chaps, Fap King, Stick, Dick, Shaven, Bunghole. Excellent, good to have you here. Daniel Reza, good to see you. Read everybody out. Hopefully, if I haven't read your name out, I apologise in advance. Curved Water, good to see you. Kirk Hadley, thank you very much for being here. New name, I think. I don't think I've seen you before. Vinegar Strokes, thanks for being here. Is anyone less confused than they were 2 years ago? Question mark. I don't think so. Thanks going out to Lewis from Charlotte. Mr. B, good to have you here. Jeremy was saying that you were dissecting up some of his video history yesterday. Not that I'd seen that, but good to hear. Lewis Hackett in the chat. Thanks again for being on the show, Lewis. Hopefully you will have encouraged others when I fire up future debates like this one. Not that we could really call it a debate, as literally no one came and challenged a single word that you said, apart from the chat. Revenge of the Flat Earth Rejects. Full screen name. Vengeance is ours, saith the Flat Earth Rejects. It's good to know. Flat Earth Reject says, I concur. Have you got any bolly, mate? I think he means Bollinger, as in champagne. Crack some open. I don't know what to celebrate. Successful pilot, I suppose I could celebrate that. Pac-Man says, nom 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 nom. I don't know, I'd love to have some Portal believers on. Right, I'm at the end of the chat now, so I'm going to transition across to the pictures screen and say a few repetitive words. If you're new to this channel being Nathan Oakley, click the subscribe button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you're also new to me in general, be sure to check out my main channel for all things Flat Earth, that being Flat Earth video logs, experiments, sun tracking, things of that nature, mainly flat earth interviews with other flat earth videographers. So be sure to check out the link in the info box below this video for a link to I think I put the link to the chat with Gem Panda about why this show actually has taken place in the first instance. So check out that in the info box and subscribe to Nathan Oakley 1980 if you've not done so already. And as I say, subscribe to Nathan Oakley if you want to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. That worked out quite nicely with my rather swift naming of the show this morning when I woke up. Right, let's transition across to some photographs. If you do want to join the show, there is a link in the info box. Come one, come all. All opinions are welcome. So we have Jason, that's his name, Awake Souls, in our chat currently. And like many a keyboard warrior, he's talking about celestial rotation and talking about things we can observe from the chat room. So I'll say, as I've said to all of the guests before who have joined our chat, you are welcome to join this chat and air your opinions, views, and beliefs without fear of ridicule. You may be joined by somebody who has an adverse opinion, who will challenge you on those, but I will not. That is not my purpose in being here. My purpose is just to run the show. So as these shows hopefully get more popular, I'm still in two minds, maybe a little bit more convinced that I may do a few more of these, but as they progress, I will hopefully only be seen when there is a need for a moderator to interject in the actual live stream chat. Not the word chat, but the actual show chat. The conversation that's being aired. And if the show goes well, hopefully I'll never have to interject at all. There'll just be cordial discord between people with different beliefs. But for the time being, unfortunately, we've just had Lewis Hackett, or fortunately, as the case may be, join us and tell us all of his beliefs, completely unchallenged. And he was perfectly welcome to do so, as it was only him and me here. And I'm just literally going to be modding the chat, and I might check him on the occasional ad hominem attack, literally at the chat while he's on his own, which is totally unnecessary. As he was alone, he was unchallenged. There was, he didn't have to respond to any of the people in the chat room. He did. He chose to. That's his prerogative when he's here, as it will be the case with anybody. But you are welcome to join the show, and you are welcome. Check my mic is actually on. You are welcome to join, and you are welcome to express your beliefs and opinions to all who watch. And if you were to join right this second, you would be doing that, as Lewis did, completely unchallenged. So if you want to tell the world about how the world is, now is your opportunity to do so. It may not stay the case that you are unchallenged indefinitely, but at least for the time being, if you were to join now, you can just express your views to the audience. As there's very little happening in the Google Hangouts itself, I will take this opportunity to use this stream as a rolling advert for what this actually is and the purpose and what will happen. So, on this, my secondary channel, which is just called Nathan Space Oakley, I will be running, I'm going to say this now, a few of these chats. So the show will be called Flat Earth Debate, and all are welcome to join, regardless of your views. The purpose being to have a place where you can debate, hopefully free of ad hominem attacks and crazy bullshit, let's just call it that. My purpose in being here will purely be to moderate those chats, and like Lewis did earlier, you can join the show and express your opinions and views, potentially completely unchallenged, as Lewis did. So his views have been heard by all and only challenged from the keyboard warriors who are in the chat. If you would like to join the show, there is a link in the info box below this video, and occasionally I will, as I will now, spam the chat to get people in. So people like Tim Osman, who's just joined us, good to see you, is free to come and use this right now. Doesn't have to snipe anybody. He can join and express his views and opinions about Flat Earth, and there, at least for the time being, will be nobody to challenge him on that. If you are averse to those opinions, you are also welcome to join and challenge them with hopefully some evidence, hopefully some facts and proof of what you say, rather than just conjecture and opinion. However, your conjecture and opinion is also welcome here, will no doubt be challenged, but yes, that's the purpose of this being done. So this follows up off the back of a comment from Gem Panda yesterday in Pete Shea's chat, where the majority of the audience weren't actually listening to what Pete had to say. Most of them were just using it as a place to chat in a chat room, which is fine. So be it. Great, at least he's got an audience. But it's not akin to moving anything forward in terms of arguments. Nothing's going to move forward unless there's a cordial debate. And currently, I see Flat Earth as a bit of a circle jerk. Globe Earth, it goes without saying, it's controlled by the mainstream, so everything that you see is Globe Earth on mainstream TV. It doesn't even need to purport to be Globe Earth. It just is. That's just the standard accepted rhetoric. So without even trying, people who are producing any content of any description will naturally, just in their language alone, talk about Globe Earth, the gravity of situations. So here we go. We're joined by Tim Osman. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
I'm not too bad. Not too bad at all. How are you?
Not bad. Is this a new concept or new idea from Nathan Oakley?
Yeah, it came to me in a flash of inspiration after Gem Panda explained that in 2015, not that this will be a 24-hour, far from it, there was debate platforms like ones you were on. So you are very familiar with 3chan. You were a guest. I wasn't. But you had an opportunity to put across your arguments and have them challenged, and vice versa. And on the whole, it was obviously got heated occasionally, but it was mostly cordial. It wasn't a circle jerk. And I hear that term frequently. And I can be a good moderator. I'm not blowing my, well, I am blowing my own trumpet, but I don't care. And that's why I'm here. So I can offer a platform for people to debate this subject.
The July to September period.
Hey, Jeremy.
I muted you, Jeremy. Yeah, that's cool. There's also Flat Earth debates ran by Andrea Sensi back then, and that was more of a debate. 3chan was kind of more of a hangout, but we did get into some debates for sure. But yeah, I mean, I think I've made the comment not too long ago that this is kind of what's wrong with a lot of these top brass flat earthers is they don't even allow not even truthers, like people that are understand about 9/11 and stuff like that. They don't care to talk to anybody that has the belief that it's a sphere. And it just it makes them look very showy, in my opinion, truthfully.
It could be fear. There's a fear of being challenged. Nobody wants to get into a heated argument. Maybe that's it. As opposed to just shilly.
It could be, but I just I would want to know I'm right, first of all, and to speak with like-minded people that understand that the government does do sleight of hand stuff sometimes would be helpful to me if I was a flat earther, personally. But what's up, Jim?
How you doing, mate? Hello.
These kinds of open discussions actually bring on people like me and Jim, where we're actually like a lot more calm than, say, Dogmatic Dell, where he goes on for hours about how I've been raped by the Catholic Church and all this kind of stuff. Like that's why I get pissed off by some people.
You're what? You've been accused of being a rape victim from the Catholic Church by Dell. Did I hear you right?
Oh God, yeah, dude. Yeah, he talks about my anus
That's
almost
his
every
line
show.
on Timmy. Can you guys hear me? Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah. Cool.
I mean, what?
Yeah, I was hoping we might get Dell in there today. He was hovering around, but nope.
He was hovering around here. I'll send him the link.
He was when Nathan was live. He was hanging around. Are we still live? We're not still
Yeah,
live.
we're still live. Yeah, yeah. This
Oh,
will.
are we?
I mean, I intended just to do this for a couple of hours just to see how it went, and to be perfectly honest, I don't know. I don't want to say I'm surprised, but I'm kind of not surprised that the people who have actually interacted are what are classed as globeheads. That doesn't surprise me. It annoys me, but there we go.
Yeah.
That's life.
Yeah, I must admit, doesn't surprise me. There just aren't that many people around anymore that want to engage like that, and it's sort of become the norm not to,
Yeah, there's kind of this philosophical approach now to flat Earth, which is okay, but it really needs to be addressed that it doesn't necessarily reflect the truth of our reality, and a lot of people just want to go with the philosophical belief, and I've actually started to figure out that people like Bob and stuff, they just want to have a place to go and hang out with like-minded people, and
Right.
they like take really offense to me coming on and just saying, hey, the Earth is actually a sphere, dude. Like there's actually evidence for it. So
We got Ranty Rant spewing hate again. Ranty, you're welcome to join. If you disagree with anything, you are welcome to join and put that opinion forward.
Yeah, come on
yeah,
in,
this happens a lot actually. A lot of people try to set up hangouts where flat earthers can come and engage with people that believe in the sphere, and it seems as though their conviction isn't as strong as people like me that really want to push what I believe is the truth. They just want to sit there and believe it and go watch, Patricia Steer and Mark Sargent. It's like, hey, cool, man. Like it's in my opinion, this flat Earth thing kind of separated the wheat from the chaff in the truth community, because the people that are pitching the flat Earth can just go in their little echo chamber and pitch the flat Earth like they want. They ban everybody in the chat. Um, I come by without troll accounts with my main accounts and say hi and get banned, so I just don't go back. I don't have time for this anymore. I'm actually moving. I'm getting a new house, and I don't care. Like I'm pretty much done, because the flat Earth is done itself. It's killing itself, the house of cards, from the inside. And this is where I get my popcorn out and just enjoy. Truthfully.
I mean, it's very good advice, as much as you're saying it in kind of a way to smear what the movement's doing. It is good advice. If you are banned from somewhere and they don't want you there, the worst thing you can do for your own sanity is to just keep going back again and again and again, because it's miserable, or at least I think so.
Yeah, I tell the idiots over at Jesus. I tell the idiots that go and troll and have hundreds of accounts that come in and literally give a hundred views to say Dogmatic Bell or something, just to put thumbs down on. That'd be 300-400 thumbs down. That means that those 300 or 400 people just gave 300 or 400 views to Dell. And this is part of what makes people think that it's growing, is that trolls are giving like an eighth of the views, maybe even a seventh, a sixth of the views sometimes.
Yeah, I've said that many times, that some of my most avid fans, they may not agree with what I say. In fact, quite the opposite. They often fundamentally disagree. They're still watching my content. And as a YouTuber, that's what I'm here for. I'm here for views. Yes, the subject that interests me is flat Earth, but I'm a YouTuber first and foremost. That's what I'm here for. And what was the most entertaining to me? What did I enjoy? What did I get the most out of? Yeah, watching people debate each other. Watching that, it strengthened my arguments to hear people argue. It's as simple as that. And it would benefit many, many, many people to have that kind of debate again, to hear the crap arguments that people are now starting to have creep into their arsenal like they're decent arguments, and without anybody to challenge them. And this kind of opinion where you've got if you're a flat earther, then you must agree with my nonsense opinion, then that will only be personified further and further and further in these circle jerk chat rooms. You'll just continually have people saying, yeah, this is true, yeah. Oh, you think the Earth's flat too? Oh, yeah, absolutely then. Ranty's a perfect example. He has fallen out with me because I disagreed with him, or didn't even disagree with him, asked him for evidence on Ken Burns. And what I got was vitriol and hatred. It's like, I'm not disagreeing with you. I want you to prove it to me. At least provide me with some evidence. That's it. That's not to say I disagree. But if you're a flat earther, in the current state of affairs in flat earth, it seems that if you don't agree with a certain point, you'll be ostracised. Even if you are a flat earther. I mean, I've been ostracised from plenty of flat earth chat rooms because I challenge what they say. Prior to me, it was JLB. He didn't agree with everything. He wanted more evidence, and when he would ask for it, he'd be kicked out, and that naturally would result in him getting angry and trolling people. That's why we end up with 500 accounts from people, because they're so pissed off that they can't express their view in a chat room like this. And that's, without saying it a 50th time, that's why I've done this, is to provide exactly that. I just hope it isn't. It'd be very upsetting if all this ended up being was a non-stop platform for Globers to come and spout Globe rhetoric. At the moment, that's all it's been. But so be it. If that's the case, I'm not going to stand in the way of anybody who wants to join this show. Hopefully with time that will change. But for the time being, anybody watching this is going to be far more convinced we live on a sphere, let's be honest.
I think most people understand my tact, and I really do. It might not come off as that, but I really do want to make people better. And part of that is exactly what you're saying, in that you get people on that obviously don't have the flat earth belief, and they can talk to flat earthers, and it doesn't have to get nasty. Debate doesn't mean nastiness. It just, it's a sharing of ideas. It's a cordial discord. And it's very important for flat earth, because right now flat earthers, they don't have a very congealed argument at all. It's actually, it's all over the place. Some people say that the AMAP works. Some people are more realistic and say, hey, this doesn't work with the sun and the moon and the stars and nothing really. And so they're going to fight with each other. So there needs to be flat earthers like yourself that go and say, hey, this is bad information. Okay, we've been through this 2 years ago. This is bad information. Let's go with better arguments. And so if we had flat earthers bettering themselves by flat earthers, we would see a totally different flat earth today. But what we see is just people, if you pitch flat earth, you're cool, man. You're cool. It doesn't matter what you say. Doesn't matter if Sasquatch is on the flat earth with you and you saw him last night. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that you pitch the flat earth. And so, yeah, I believe that this is important, Nate.
Yeah, I mean, that's where it started with people falling out with me, was no trees. Ultimately speaking, it was pitched directly to flat earthers. There are no forests on flat earth. That was the name of the title from some obscure channel. And it very quickly gained ground, and it was because of exactly that. Oh, you agree because you're a flat earther? This is a great idea. Yeah, I do. Isn't it the next greatest thing to... She's like, what? Why are you all agreeing with each other? Why aren't any of you challenging each other on this? It's just a video from some guy. Not even a new idea. Old. But yeah, because everybody said, yeah, I'm a flat earther too. All right, you must agree with no trees then. Oh yeah, definitely. What an amazing idea. No, don't buy it at all. Not one bit.
There's some intrinsic groupthink going on here, and I don't know if anybody is really pushing it, but it seems like it's a defense mechanism of sorts for flat earthers to fall behind just kind of the Gish Gallop and the pro flat Earth work, instead of actually going for the truth. That's what I've had my problems with, is just these most flat earthers become very dogmatic towards the idea. They become very biased. And as researchers, as skeptics, we should be very unbiased. I should be just as skeptical of the sphere as I am with the flat earth. And I am. But my evidence that I've looked at in reality just leads me to believe that the spherical model is hands down way better. That's it. And that's what I've tried to tell people with empirical evidence. And a lot of people just, I can't even get, like people like Bro Sanchez don't even believe. They think that the southern celestial part of the sphere is a hoax. He thinks that everybody on Earth sees the same thing. And so when we have 350 flat earthers watching him last night, it sends a message as the flat earth that, hey, we don't really know what we're talking about here. you know, and then deep inside the rabbit hole goes on and talks with him. I didn't really listen to it, but you know, I wish that people would take people under their wings and say, hey, dude, there is a South Celestial Pole, man. Okay. Like flat earther to flat earther. Like, this is bad information that you're pitching here. And instead, we have people go on and just pretty much agree with everything that they say. So it just continues the path of bad information. And, you know, when people go on and see that, oh, flat earth, this is a new idea to me. Then they see Bro Sanchez talking about, you know, Nut and Geb and all these different things. It's like, this isn't good for flat earth guys. I mean, I'm sorry, but you guys are the most counterintuitive movement I've ever seen in my life. Like, why do I have to tell you guys this?
No, I completely agree. You know, you and I have both seen the Southern Stars. For me to deny it would be a lie, and I can't deny it. And it infuriates me when people do. You know, again, a lot of people miss the irony with some of my videos. I made a video about there being no South Celestial Pole Star, specifically worded that way for a very good reason, because as far as I can ascertain, there isn't one. Now, the smarter of the bunch came and said, well, that's not to say that there's not a point that all the stars rotate around. And of course, I wholeheartedly agree, because there is. And to deny it is ludicrous. But to hear that, I mean, I'm not an avid watcher of Bro Sanchez, so I didn't know he had done that. But exactly. So for all who have watched that now go out to next man and say, did you know the Earth is flat? Oh, really? Well, what about the South Celestial Pole? Well, it doesn't exist. You will look like an idiot.
Exactly. And then you'll spread and try to get more people with bad information. And that's why I try to talk to people like Authentic Intent as well. It's like, hey, there is a South Celestial Pole, okay? And to me, this is evidence that the flat Earth can't work. But to a flat earther, it should be a mission to figure out how it works on a flat Earth, because it is an observation in reality we can make. And instead of taking some dogmatic Dell approach where we just say, we don't know what they are, we don't know the compositions, therefore we can't make any observations of them at all. Well, you know, it's just more intellectually honest for a flat earther to take this information, to take this data, and try to fit it into a flat Earth. And really, that's what Jaron. I just made a video about it on Timothy Osman Live. That's what Jaron just said the other night. After 3 years, you know, the observations for the sphere work because it's hundreds of years of compilation. And so what we need to do is take these observations and figure out how they work on a flat Earth. Something I've been saying for over 2 years, mind you. But you know, I guess we're getting somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, hopefully. We shall see. So far, there's nothing for anybody to challenge you on. I mean, no disrespect, but at least Lewis came out with some rhetoric. You know what I mean? So far, everything you've said, even if I wanted to, I wouldn't disagree with any of it. But there we go. You've not spouted any globe rhetoric as yet.
Yeah, it's I've learned over the years to change my tact, and like I've said before, I could be a great guest and have a huge show on Patricia's show talking about other stuff than flat Earth. I can come on a Nathan Oakley show and bring a bunch of trolls with me, and we could have a huge show and talk about other things, or talk about even just the sociological aspects and the psychological aspects that we see within the flat Earth. And it's like people have this mostly in the Bro Sanchez and You've Been Exposed crowd. They say that I'm a pedophile, so they go around and telling everybody that I'm a pedophile and that I'm a racist. And so, you know, they spread this throughout that community, so I'm pretty much banished over there, which I really don't care. They're not the brightest over there. Um, but you know, it's nice for us to be able to chat. It's like I could come on and be an ass, but then you just kick me off. Like, what would be the point of that? Um, you know, we have passed, you know, that we've said nasty stuff to each other, but I really don't care about that. Like we've grown past that. I think that you've grown up as well throughout this whole experience. And you know, it's just like there's greener pastures, man. It's not all black and white. He's the enemy, us versus them. You know, go after this guy. You know, it's what does he have to say? Well, it doesn't matter if he's showing his face or you can see him talking to you. I mean, that doesn't mean anything. So
So, as it's topical or of the moment, and I've got you here, Why the attacks on people's past like ODD then? Specifically relevant right now?
Well, the ODD thing, I had his information and sent him an email a year before it came out and told him that he needs to do something basically. And he just told me to tell him the information basically, and basically it was one of the times where I got really sick of flat Earth and pissed off for like 2 months, drinking and shit. And so somebody came out with his information on some website, some Christian guy or something, the day before I put it out. But that is important. That guy, you know, he's pretty cool, and I've emailed him and stuff, and he's pretty good at emailing me back. But he does have a past. He is a criminal. It's not just that offense. There's many more offenses. And so, yeah, I think that that kind of was important for his name to come out, because that's why it was hidden from the beginning. That's why he was ODD and hiding his name for so long, is because he is a registered sex offender in Denver and still is. And he's actually gotten citations for not registering uh, like 6 years ago or something. So it's not, his story to me doesn't add up about some, you know, child minor and some 30-year-old. I mean, that doesn't add up for the charge. I know law pretty well, and so yeah, I think it needed to be exposed. And really, I didn't expose anything that wasn't pretty much already out there. Patricia Steer came out, said, "Hey, my name is Patricia Steer, and I'm from Houston." I mean, literally, it was the second Google result. So I'm much more crafty than that. It was like, who doxed who? Did Patricia dox herself? Did I dox her, or did Google? You know, I mean, it's kind of subjective at that point. But I haven't done any of that for quite a while. You know, it's like beyond um, my character at this point, because I don't care. I don't care mostly because the flat earthers don't care enough to care about the situation. So why should I care for them, basically?
Hopefully you saw Patricia's show yesterday, and not yesterday, day before yesterday, but she showed a bit of humanity, or a bit of a human side, shall we say. But she's subject to so many attacks, and I'm certain I'll get, oh, you're defending Patricia, but yeah, why not? You know, some people do need defending, and some people, in my humble opinion, are just inherently good people and get attacked anyway. Patricia Steer being one of them. ODD probably deserves it, you know. Sorry, that's just the way it goes. If you're a petty criminal, you're going to have that exposed eventually. And we did actually come up for a term with what he was doing. Projecting a guilty conscience is what he's been doing by accusing people of being shills and all and sundry. That's all it is. You know, essentially he has a guilty conscience for the things he has done in his past, and therefore either assumes that everybody is like him and nefarious in some way or another, or he's just projecting his own guilty conscience onto those people. And those kind of people, unfortunately, they're going to be subject to the wrath of people like Tim Osman. And, you know, I've been at the end of that shitty stick as well. It's not fun. Nobody wants to be at the end of that stick. And I pity it when it's people like Patricia. I can cope with it. I couldn't care less. But when it's people like Odd, you kind of think, yeah, you deserve it.
Yeah, I agree. But, you know, in certain light, there's question to be had about, first of all, that email that was in there, because when she went, Flat Earth Reset pretty much made a video that was pretty good about that. Mark Sargent is known to send himself emails and read them on his show. And so she was screen sharing and showed a email that was basically the same email death threat from Mark Sargent, and it was copied and basically said a little bit different, but still like the same wording and stuff. So really, I don't feel too bad for people that get just phony death threats in the conspiracy crowd, because I've gotten tons of them. I've gotten tons of people, I still do, Not so much anymore, but tons of people threatening me and stuff. And I mean, it's never come to light that it's just bullshit. So does she deserve it? Probably not. You know, if she's shilling out here and she's getting paid to shill out here, yeah, she not really deserves death threats if that was a legitimate death threat to begin with. But you know what? She's a big girl and she can handle herself at this point. She can delete an email and doesn't have to do it in front of 350 people to try to play some victim card or something. And I personally think that it would have been nice to see her when she went into talking about her parents, truthfully, to see her on camera for that. And maybe I don't know, being disheartening here, but I don't know. I think that it would have told me a lot, truthfully, because I've never really seen emotion being exhibited from her. And it might go to a little bit to what Antonio was saying about her, but I don't know, man. That whole situation, this whole flat Earth thing. I mean, if you really think about it and unbiasedly, and don't be like, "Oh, this person I've known for a long time. I've talked on Skype. We're best friends or whatever." Like, if you really just look at the story of it all, I mean, it literally needs to be written about, dude. People need to understand the flat Earth sophism psyop Trojan horse meme of 2014 called Flat Earth, and I think I'm gonna write about a book about it, dude. I need to compile my thoughts, but I think I'm going taking a couple months off and gonna write a book about it actually.
I've got Awake Souls in the chat who's asking me about my car. So if you go back through my channel, you'll see that there's lots of posh cars that I've had over the years. I haven't actually owned a car since 2005, 2006 was the last car that was registered to me. And then between then and 2011, I had a series of company cars, which were not mine, although I did have exclusive use of them. So they were my car, but not my car. The car that I currently drive is also not my car. It's not here now. I don't have use of it. It's my wife's car, which she's had pretty much from new. It's about 15 years old, and that's her car. I occasionally get use of it. I'm insured on it. He's asking if I'm rich because he's seen a video of me in a posh car in front of a mansion, and this is a very, very good example of what I'm talking about in Hearsay Gate, which was the MGTV and for the archive when someone watches this again, is the bullshit that was spewed about basically certain flat earthers, namely Patricia Steer and Mark Sargent, being agents based on when a app was registered. Complete garbage. But this kind of nonsense gets perpetuated purely based on what people have seen in a video. So, in the case of Jason, Awake Souls, he has seen me in a car on a video and draws the non sequitur conclusion that I own a car in a mansion, which is quite literally ridiculous. It is akin to watching somebody on a soap opera and calling them by their stage name. You know, the fact that you've seen a video with me in a posh car does not mean I own a posh car. That is ludicrous. Had the same exact bullshit from Sheeps and Neeps, fellow flat earther, who said, "I've seen the videos of you in a posh car." It's like, right, so Neeps, does that mean I own a car because you've seen a video of it? No, of course not. And these kind of conclusions that people are drawing are what's pretty much led me to do shows like this, where I invite people to come on and spout their rhetoric. So far, not a lot of flat earth rhetoric being spouted. I must admit, disappointing, but I'm sure in future events there will be people who will come on and express their views and express their beliefs, and they will be challenged. And likewise, in this show, we have the converse of that. We've had nothing but globe... Not nothing but, because we've had a fairly bit of talk about people, which is fine, I suppose. But, you know, we've had Lewis on talking about his beliefs in the spherical Earth, and Tim Osmond, the same applies. He's told us about his stack of evidence, which is much, much, much larger. And again, I can't really disagree. The preponderance of evidence is in favour of the globe. This is something I've always maintained. The preponderance of evidence, if you want to put it in those terms, definitely favours the sphere model. Now, that's not to say that I agree with all of the evidence, but it's still in the bundle, as they would say in court terms. That evidence is in the stack of evidence that is saying it's a globe. The fact that evidence can be challenged and disproven is why we're having this show. So when Tim Osmond says the stack of evidence is this high for the globe and only this high for the flat earth, then someone needs to come and either challenge the evidence that's presented or present their own counter evidence for either their model, if they have one, or whatever. And hopefully that will be done. You know, there's a few other people who've joined the chat. Rory McFizz, who's given me a fair bit of grief over the years, or over the last year certainly. You are free to join also. You will not be ridiculed or bullied or whatever in any way, shape or form. The link is in the info box. Feel free to join. There's been several people in the chat that have said that they would like to join but haven't, and have then presented their counter arguments in the chat. You are keyboard warriors. You will be pawn scorn upon, unfortunately, because there is a link in the description box and in the chat. I'm going to post it right now. So you are all free to join and counter anything that has been said here. So yes, Rory McFizz says, you're a liar, presumably aimed at me. Rory, you're free to join. You don't need to be a keyboard warrior.
Well, that was well put, about how you basically provide counter evidence for people's claims. We've been wanting that for a long time, mostly with the evidence that is starting to come out of people using the godlike P900 to provide evidence, like you just pointed out beautifully. And yes, evidence can be falsely interpreted, basically, and that's what I would love to hear, you know. But most people are just gonna throw some kind of ad hoc fallacy kind of term to something like it's atmospheric conditions, swells or waves or whatever, without being able to justify it in any way. But I would like to make a point about something that I've noticed. I think I coined a term. What was it? Conspiratorial reverse psychology, right? So if there are shills in any movement, right, and you want them to basically out themselves, you just make a fail video like MGTV's, and then they will come and just dox themselves and show their IDs and prove to everyone in the flat earth that they are real people. I mean, dude, the psychology that's going on there is absolutely amazing. Like, really, these people need to come out and go through their life stories for some reason to prove in the conspiracy crowd something. Like, they don't they're not built for this, dude. This is like they're noobs, man. And to come out and not talk to anybody on the other side in the truth community and all this kind of stuff, never have any videos before, just start throwing up flat earth videos. Yeah, I mean, people are gonna definitely think that they're shills, dude. And I continue to. I've ever seen in my life, mostly at their age, that would come out and behave in this way. And is that needless to say that that's impossible? Well, no, but it is weird. Like, it is just odd. And mostly when the evidence is and does stack for the sphere. It's just it you know, at the end of the day, if the Earth is a sphere, like, what they're doing is pathetic. What everyone's doing is pathetic because what they're doing is denying actual evidence for something that isn't true. And you know, I've been trying to tell people that for years. But hey, you know what? I love that you made that distinction. Though I would like to say that you make the distinction of the preponderance of evidence is for the sphere, you know, but that some of that evidence could be false or could be misinterpreted to where you would be, uh, you know, it could be a flat Earth basically. But you know, that's so honest, and that would be really great if other flat earthers could just realize that, because that's the most honest way to go. And if you really believe that, you're not going to be probably as likely to go around and proselytize to everybody and make a fool of yourself, really. Like, it's just, I don't know. I've never heard you say that, Nathan.
I've said it a few times. I just said it was obvious, given the fact that, again, I qualify this by saying it doesn't necessarily have to be that evidence doesn't mean factually accurate. It just means that it's something that's presented. Often things are debunked, but the preponderance of evidence has to be for the globe because of the sheer amount of material and the fact that it is the commonly accepted cosmology. Therefore, obviously, the preponderance of evidence is going to be for the globe because it's such that even by speaking, even as a flat earther, just in conversation, I refer to things in a globe way by default because it's part of the language. So everything that is seen on TV, even if the person's not talking about the Earth being a globe, it could be a fishing program, they will talk in global language. So obviously, the preponderance of evidence that's going to be presented is it ipso facto or default? By default, people think it's a globe. So everything they say, every idea that they have about what they're doing in their world, they're not necessarily even punting the idea of a globe, but they are by default. So obviously the stack of evidence is insurmountably in favour of the globe.
Yeah, absolutely. And at that point, having that knowledge or understanding, rather, I think it's important also for the person to also go figure out why the people think that it is a sphere. The two celestial points, the arc star trails over your zenith at the equator. You being able to see these two star, basically celestial points at near the equator at night, both of them doing the same thing you would see in the north or southern hemisphere. I mean, it's just you make these logical, and they're not leaps. It's just inferences. And some people, want to say that it's something else, and it's important to understand why everybody else is saying that it is this way, and to find this conspiracy behind it, I think it comes to a detriment because it comes to all of these presuppositions that the government and everybody's lying to you, and not to say that they're not in some ways, and you can't even say this one ominous group, the government, because there's always different factions and people pulling the strings, but um in the conspiracy crowd, people get this kind of overgeneralization of an idea, and all they want to do is just go push the idea, and they don't really understand how to really back it up or justify it in any way, but they have their emotion and their life riding on it. And I think flat earth has brought that in some people's minds, that they have to go out and prove this thing to people, go out and destroy NASA, and destroy the governments and stuff. Some of the flat earth is not like that at all. They don't really talk like that, but a lot of it is pretty militant. I think it's just silly to have it all riding on that supposition.
Got Twitwit in the chat. Sorry, you're all going to get called keyboard warriors because you're not joining. I don't believe there is a they who are hiding God or land. And unfortunately, I'm the only globe head, so I'm going to have to give my opinion, which will be from a flat earther point of view. Sorry, which is to say that no, there probably isn't a they right here, right now, that are trying to hide anything, because the maps have all been drawn. So there may well have been a they at some stage, but now all we have left is the systems that have been put in place, as far as I am concerned. If there is a land deception, that's been perpetrated long ago. So no, there may be nobody who is actively perpetrating those deceptions in the same way that people are actively perpetrating false flags. So no, you're probably right, but that's not to say that there isn't a deception afoot in regards to land. There may very well be more land. Let's phrase this for both sides. Sphere or flat, regardless of the shape or curvature to Earth's surface, there may be more land. Let's say, I have to grit my teeth to say this, if it's a globe, there may still be more land somewhere on it. We just don't know. We are very much controlled in the way we travel around or on the Earth. So that being the case, it would be very easy to hide land. It's not, as Tim Osman puts it, a big leap to suggest that. And without looking, we just don't know. So, no, there isn't probably a they now, but there probably was a they at some point while those maps were being constructed and drawn up. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah, but the geoid continues to be perfected upon. And I mean, in the real world, they say they use satellites for all kinds of help with that too now, not just people on the ground. So it's not really as clear cut and as easy as one would think, you know. And man, I just have to bring this up. Last night I heard Bro Sanchez saying, some Globers think that it's a pear, some think that it's a oblate spheroid, and some think that it's a sphere. And man, it was the word he was going on about Flat Earth Assholes video, about how he's wrong, and he's just completely talking shit to him the whole time. But we as a sphere Earth, I mean, the Earth is supposedly around what 16 miles, 1/300th of a part wider at the equator than it is from pole to pole. So, technically speaking, if you think about it, just logically, 25,000 miles in circumference, 12-mile difference at the equator. When looking at something, like if you can see the whole sphere, say from the moon or whatever kind of imagery they give us, you're not going to expect anything but what looks to you like a perfect sphere. Okay, so I'm just getting this out of the way here. We're not talking about a pear Earth, okay? Even though Neil deGrasse Tyson, the Freemason bullshitter that is not coming, he's dropping mics. He's part of it, dude. He's part of this, in my opinion. Him and Bill Nye, they're fucking clowns, dude. They don't come out with any evidence or proof or anything. They just talk a bunch of shit. And so, yeah, we don't believe in a pair. I hope that most people believe that for the most part, it's a sphere that is a little bit wider, very, very small amount comparatively to the whole sphere at the equator, right? The oblateness of the Earth should not also be a conspiracy either. I think your bandwidth's been pretty fucked up. Excuse my language.
Me? Nah. You think my bandwidth's screwed?
Smoke this here.
Nah.
Yeah, I think so.
Nah, it must be you. I've got 0 dropped frames. I am elated. I've done this perfectly. Now I couldn't be more pleased with how the stream looks. I mean, I've tested this to the nth degree.
Well,
that's
hold
why.
on.
That's why
Do you
people got a
think
load of
that
boring repeats.
do you think that your camera's on right now?
Well, no, I've got 2 cameras. So there's a camera in OBS, so the actual audience does get to see me. But if I'm messing around, my kid just started to stir, so I just went and checked on her. So I turned off the other camera that's in the Hangout just so you guys can see me. So I've got my shitty camera just for the Hangout, and the main camera's on OBS. So yeah, the other thing is the mics are separate. So you may as well know this. It's not like I'm hiding it, but if for the sake of argument there's a conversation going on and I want to plug something, I want to say subscribe now or whatever I'm going to plug at that particular moment, I can mute me in the Hangout so the conversation can continue while I talk to the audience and don't interrupt. I've just set it up in such a fashion so that I can have a nice, what's the word?
Nice.
Yeah, just so it's slick. I want it to be slick. And to be honest, that I can do it reasonably well when I'm actually on camera and talking and part of the show. But that's partially, if I'm really honest, that's the real reason why I'm saying I don't want to debate people. Because as soon as you get into the point when you're in a heated debate, so if I start challenging you on geoids or something, I'll immediately lose focus on the chat, what camera's on, who can hear what, and that's not what I want. I'd rather although it hasn't been successful in this pilot edition, if you want to call it that, is to have other people debating with you or whoever else has joined, Lewis, and I will just keep an eye on the chat in general until if it got to the point where, I don't know, whoever, Ranty screaming at Lewis, then obviously I'm going to step in at that stage and say there's no need for this. But in terms of the actual debate, I said this to Jen Panda yesterday. The example I gave was where I can't remember who it was you were talking to, but a newbie, and you were talking about going past the equator and seeing the moon change, and I knew exactly why you were doing that. You were doing that because the guy didn't know the flat Earth debunking to the argument. Therefore, you'd got him, and got him with a crap argument, which was hysterical. It was very entertaining. But in that scenario, I wouldn't want to step in. I want you. Your point in doing that is to show how limited the understanding of even the maybe what you would call incorrect information was by that individual. And you're free to make that point on this platform. I would encourage that. If you don't know how to conquer a Tim Osman argument, then you're going to have a hard time, because that's who you're going to be talking to. I'm not here, in other words, to baby a flat earther who's new to this scene and offer you all the debunkings to the globe arguments or support you with the correct explanation. No. If you don't know what you're talking about, you're going to realise that pretty quickly. And it's the same.
Flat Earth. Let me add that Flat Earth has absolutely no explanation. And this is pretty much what Jake was pointing out about the ecliptic. They have no explanation on their pizza pie model of you can go and watch a dearth video and go from one side of the room to the other, but that calls into way more questions, because there's different points then that you would be looking at the moon and it would be cocked way differently all over. Plus, if it wasn't a sphere, I mean, this is nonsense. You guys do not have a debunk for how it works literally on a sphere, or on a flat Earth rather. You don't. It's just an explanation from putting something on a fan, walking from one side to the other. It does not have any predictive capability. It does not match reality in any way. And that would call into more question of shadows on the moon, which you guys just can say it's a projection or it's this or that or anything to move the goalpost. But it doesn't work, dude. There's no debunk of that. None. Because you'd be taking observations that are real about the moon and be plotting them on a flat Earth successfully. But you know what? We do sun tracking, but we don't do moon tracking on the flat Earth. No moon tracking on the flat Earth, okay? We like big shiny objects. Big shiny objects.
Yeah, nobody's challenging you. Nobody's coming in. I'm going to leave this to run. So my Sprogger's finally awoken. So unfortunately, daddy duties will continue. But kind of another reason why I can do this is because, again, if I'm not debating, I don't have to debate and I can do other things and leave this running. So that's precisely what I'm going to do at this stage. So this will probably be me
cool.
Signing out, but I will leave this stream running and it'll be playing in the background, so I will be listening, and I've got my iPad with me, so I will be chatting in the chat. But from this point on, I probably won't be actively chatting on the show. So I'll thank both Tim Osman and Jem Panda and Lewis Hackett from earlier for joining us at short notice. If anybody else wants to join this show and any subsequent shows from now on, the link will be in the info box, and I will periodically spam the chat with the link. So all are free to join. There are only a couple of rules. One is that if it does actually reach the point where you are ejected from the show, I would only ask that you do not return to the same show. You will be warmly welcomed on the next show. So once there is a re-upload, you'll be able to come on that one if we have to start a new hangout. The only other rule would be no swearing. That is not to say that you are not blanket allowed to swear, but more that people who are aggressive tend to become a bit more sweary. So if I have a blanket rule, no swearing, when I tell somebody, please don't swear, it's more me saying, please calm down, as opposed to no swearing. So if you're new to this channel, which is Nathan Oakley with a space in between, hit the subscribe buttons and you will be kept up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you are new to Nathan Oakley in general, make sure to subscribe to my main channel, which has a link to the video discussing these hangouts, these debates, which will run hopefully more and more regular as we go forward. And you can check out my conversation with Gem Panda, which took place yesterday and led to this show. Again, link is in the info box. So I'm going to say a big thank you to all of the audience. I may join you later on when I don't have a sprog climbing all over me, and I will leave Tim Osman to tell you all about how the world is actually a sphere.
No, hey, I'm actually gonna piece too then. Hey, real quick, are you is this actual hangout showing on the YouTube screen for people?
As in, the hangout that's not broadcast, yes, will go up on the page. So, yes, if you were to choose to porn bomb me, it would get broadcast. But what I would just do is terminate the broadcast, and then immediately it doesn't go live. In other words, it doesn't render to be public. So if I have to kill a broadcast, like when you porn bomb the sun tracking, it would just immediately go live. I'd edit it out and then put it up for the public. Same goes.
Cool. You know what to do. Very good.
Yeah. So it's all good.
I'm not coming around. I'm just saying it's quite possibly gonna get nasty. So
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I mean, I understand at this stage my own limitations. I am new to this. This is literally my first time sticking the chat link in the info box, with the exception of sun tracking. But that was that had multiple channel managers running the show as it was playing out, so people could kick people when people joined. They couldn't be heard by the audience. With this, I can't do that. In order to let it run for a longer period, which is the intention, I have to have OBS running and just monitor it in the background while I'm babysitting, which is fine. I can do that, but I can't. Any minute now, there's going to be screaming, and you don't want me on the show. But if you're going to jump to, that's wonderful. A massive thank you. It's been very nice chatting to you, regardless of whether or not we agree or disagree, and that's kind of the point. So thank you, Tim Osman, and Jeremy's just dropped.
Cool. You too, man.
Thank you, Tim.
Have a good day.
You too. And with that, I don't think I will chance. Wrong screen. I won't chance carrying on this hangout because it was just a pilot and it was done as a test. I'm pleased with the test. In fact, I'm elated that I had some participants at all. Would have been nice if there were some Globe enthusiasts that joined, but as a pilot, I think that's a good enough conclusion to draw, and I will run more of these hangouts in the future. So with that, I will say a massive thank you to all of the people who joined us live in the chat. And one last time, I'll say, if you're not subscribed to Nathan Oakley channel, hit the subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you are kept up to date when these debates air. If you're new to Nathan Oakley in general, be sure to check out Nathan Oakley 1980 YouTube channel. A link is in the information box. I've been Nathan Oakley. I'll see you on the next debate.